Welcome to the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube. This is our Awakening Together weekly gathering. Each and every week we have a different minister who speaks. If you'd like to attend our services live, please visit our website awakening-together.org. Click on Online Sanctuary on the main menu. Then, How to Enter the Sanctuary. Our services are held Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our weekly gathering this morning. Happy Sunday to every one of you. Thank you. I have to mute myself because I start singing that song. I love that song so much. So welcome, everybody. I see folks on here from Vancouver and Scotland and Florida and Maryland and snowy Lavita. You guys can always come over to Jersey. Spring is on its way, I tell you. So right now we will do our statement of purpose. We are an assembly of equals, joined in common purpose, awakening to one true self. Within an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. And I picked core value number 5 of our core values that align with the message for today, which is, we accept all forms as temporary appearances, permitted through enduring awareness of self. We live this value by honoring all appearances and all experiences which continually reflect on changeless truth. And with that, we'll move into prayer. And with great gratitude, it is such a wonderful thing to experience everyone being here. I'm grateful for your presence. I'm grateful for your willingness. And with great gratitude, I express deep joy and happiness for the opportunity to be used by Spirit. I'm grateful for this journey that we all get to share, that we are all on together, and grateful for each and every experience that is a part of this journey. Grateful for trusting that whatever we need, we have, that we're standing in the absolute perfect place for where we need to be on this journey. And with this, I just send out immense amount of love and joy for this day, for this moment. And in it, letting all things be. I say amen. So we will have our reading this morning. I will hand the mic over to Tawonda Chase, who will be doing our reading. Good morning, Tawonda, and thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to be reading first from Luke chapter 12, verse 22 through 59, and that starts on page 153 in NTI. Do not worry about your progress on this path that you travel to healing. To be on the path and aware of the path and thinking of the path is enough. Let me tell you a secret that will make your journey along this path simpler and more joyful. The secret is this: as you travel this path, you will only have 2 experiences. It may seem like many, but in truth, it's only 2. One experience will speed you along your journey in joy. The other will delay your journey a little while. The secret to a simple and joyful journey is to learn to discern between these two experiences and then always choose the joyful one. I have spoken to you of both experiences before, so this is but a reminder for you. The only two experiences that you will know as we travel this path together are the experience of your willingness and the experience of resistance. Everything that you think you experience is either one or the other. So do not worry about your progress on this path. Do not judge your own thoughts or actions, for worry and judgment do not bring joy, and so they cannot be willingness. Discern carefully, my friend. Recognize the thought within your mind, and at each opportunity, choose the strength of your willingness. Seek only for the kingdom, and all things will be given you. Where your heart is, your treasure is also. It will be helpful if you remember this. God's will is that you be perfectly happy in every moment of eternity. That is simple. And so when you are not happy, you have made a choice that is not God's will. When you are not happy, you have chosen with resistance. That is all. It's not a fight or rebellion. It is merely resistance. It does not take you from God or separate you from Him. It merely resists your willingness to know Him. So whenever you're not happy, it is because you're resisting accepting truth. To be happy again, all you need do is return your heart to your willingness. Your willingness sings of God's will, and so give yourself to it in every hour to know happiness. Let me tell you another secret. The world cannot make you happy, and so the world must not be God's will for you. Do not worry about the world. Let the world take care of itself and trust that all things are handled in a loving way. You, my friend, are to follow your own heart. Set your feet upon the path to healing, and let your mind stay with the joy that comes from your willingness. Give no thought to anything else, and you will make yourself truly helpful to all. And so, my brothers, I say to you all, pay attention to how you are feeling. When you are not feeling joy, you have chosen resistance. Do not worry about your mistake. It is not held against you. See it only as a wake-up call and a reminder to choose your joy and willingness again. In this way, wake yourself up. In this way, you make the choice that sets you free. And then we'll go to Acts chapter 2. This is page 217, verse 42 to 47. Your joy shall increase as you listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit, for He shall lead you to see no value where there is none, and to know the love that is already within your heart. This love is the source of all joy. It's not a special love that includes some, but not all. It is an encompassing love from which joy comes bursting forth from your heart into the world that you can see. That you see. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tawonda. So I want to begin with two questions. And that is, the first question is, where is joy? Where is happiness? Today's talk is entitled, Joy and Happiness is a Choice. But where is joy? And where is happiness? In addition from what Tawonda just shared with us from NPI, I want to share a few thoughts too from something that came through yesterday from Adi Ashanti. It was from an article he wrote called Simple Joy of Being. And it's really an excerpt from The Most Important Thing, Discovering Truth at the Heart of Life. So I took a couple of excerpts to really support the talk today. In it, he says, in the West, we are focused on comfort. We are all taught that comfort is what makes you happy. And getting everything you want, or as much as you want, or as much as you can get, will make you happy. Having things go the way you want makes you happy. Having an infinite variety of choices of the same thing makes you happy. We are certainly taught that the experience of joy and happiness are outside of us, right? They're in the things that are external until we learn that they are not. This has certainly been true for me. And so I want to share a little story. I certainly believe that the things out there in the world would make me happy. When I started my career in broadcasting in the late 80s, I was working as I worked as print news reporter, and then in radio news for several years. But it was my ultimate goal to get into television broadcasting, right? And so I graduated from college, and I had quite a few friends of mine who went on to break into, television news. And for whatever reason, it seemed like I just couldn't break in it. I was in broadcasting, but I wasn't in television, which is what, at that time I really, really, really wanted. And so I continued to work in radio news, and I can see the thought so clearly right now that there was this thought that said, oh, I'm just not going to be happy. I'm going to do this other stuff until I get into broadcasting. But until I get into the television news, I'm just not going to be happy. Okay. So I see the thought now. And then eventually in 93, that chance arrived, right? And I got my first job as a television news anchor reporter at a NBC station. And I thought that was the ultimate, right? Like I had made it, right? This is the thing, I'm happy. But that job experience turned out to be anything but a happy experience. So yes, I had achieved the thing, so to speak, but the thing cared. Little did I know, right? On the flip side of it was pure struggle and strife. And I want to share this because this happened. I want to share something that happened yesterday. As I was thinking through this and the thought about my experience at that station, I had no idea that I was still carrying some pain from that experience. And I sat yesterday afternoon as the thought and the memory came through, watching the stuff just rise up in me like it was 1993. That was almost 30 years ago, y'all. And that stuff, that was the first time I ever saw it. Let me tell you what the stuff was. So what happened was that when I came into that television station, I couldn't figure out for the life of me why I felt there was hostility there, right? There was hostility that I experienced with other news reporters, other anchors. I didn't know them. They didn't know me. I didn't know them. They didn't know me. This was my first TV job, right? And for whatever reason, I would speak, people wouldn't speak back. I'd ask for help on something. People were like, "Oh, go find it yourself." I felt very isolated, and I could not figure out what that was about, right? I didn't have what I know now, that they had nothing to do with me. I didn't know nothing about that. Right? All I know is I was feeling this stuff, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what to do with it. And it wasn't until I had gotten another job that someone who I was friends with, actually, he was a young guy. He was interning at the time. He said to me, he brought me aside and he said, do you know that when you got hired, that the news director came into the newsroom and told everybody that he was forced to hire you because of affirmative action? And I was like, what? But I knew that clicked. I didn't know why people were kind of mean and nasty. And then I said, oh, okay. So that's why, right? And I really sat with that for a second. And then, I kind of just, I dismissed it and I repressed it, like I repressed the whole experience, right? But I share that with you to share that I had no idea until yesterday that experience was something that I pushed down and away. And yesterday was the first time in almost 30 years it was allowed to come back up, to be looked at, and to be let go of. And that was really a very pivotal thing, because I think for me, I know I was taught, listen, even standing in that experience and why I repressed it, standing in that experience, I came from a background that said, hey, put your head down, to hell with that, do your work, do your job, do it as best as you can, regardless to situation. And I know that as an African-American woman, I've had many experience, and other African-American women have had experience where we have felt like in those situations, you know what, you can't make any mistakes. You just grin and bear it and get through it. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago I realized, that is really not okay. It's not okay to say you can't make mistakes, because hell, we all make mistakes, don't we? We all make mistakes every day. So for there to be some written thing that says, oh, you can't, is a crazy amount of pressure, is a crazy way of existing. So what I did with that situation and that experiences was I pushed it down. I pushed it down. Don't need to experience this right now. Just keep on moving on, right? And so in saying that, I thought that the next thing to do, I was totally convinced in that moment that the problem was at the station, right, and the people. So my mind said, well, leave here and go somewhere else. But we all know you're going to meet yourself wherever you go. You're just going to meet that. But I didn't know any of that then. And I share this as a way of saying, I felt in the moment that I could see this stuff come up yesterday. Wow, I had a choice in that moment too. I could continue to hold on to this, or I could let it go. And I knew in the moment that I was having that come back up and having a physical experience, wow, I got a choice. I can really let this go. I didn't even know it was there, but I could let it go. And I chose to let it go. And I could feel a sense of peace about letting it go. So, but in order to do that, I want to bring it back now to what N.T.I. Luke says. On this spiritual path, we're having two experiences. willingness, and resistance. And sometimes I know I say that a lot, especially in general healing. And I know perhaps people may get tired of hearing that, but it is true. I never get tired of hearing it, because I think it's just another way to remind ourselves there's two things going on here. We're either willing to let go of things and be able to experience peace and joy and happiness, or we will resist it. NTI Luke chapter also says everything that you think you experience is either one or the other. It's either one or the other thing that we're experiencing here. So we can, if I bring this back to the title, choose joy and choose happiness. Wherever we are standing right now, no matter where we are on the spiritual path, we have the ability to do that right now, to choose that willingness that's ever present to us. So, I began this morning by asking you, where is joy and where is happiness? And I want to share with you that it is right here where you are. It's never not here. And I invite you right now in this moment to allow yourself to feel the joy and feel the happiness that's present. So if you would indulge me and close your eyes right now. Stop what you're doing and close your eyes. Take a deep, deep breath in, very, very slowly though, right? Inhale it and then allow, right in the center of your heart space, right there. Now breathe it in again and let it out. And just one more time, very slowly, very intentionally, with the intent to feel joy and happiness right now. Breathe in very slowly. I don't know, but joy and happiness right there. It's right there. The vibration of it is right here. So breathe it in one more time and let it just come into your entire being. There is no resistance. None. It's just right there. And, NTI Luke 12 also says, God's will is that you be perfectly happy in every moment of eternity. Every moment. Not some moments. Not when things seem to be going your way. Not when you get what you want. But every moment. It also says, and so when you are not happy, you have made a choice that is not God's will. When you are not happy, you have chosen resistance. That is all. I love how it said, and that is all. It's simple. And to be happy again, all you need to do is return to your willingness. That's it. So in other words, what that says to me is that joy and happiness never goes away. It never goes anywhere. But we can turn our attention away from it, right? As always, that choice is ours. And so in Luke chapter 12, we're asked to pay attention to how you feel. And if you're not happy, if you're not feeling happy, then you really have chosen resistance. Because we can, and I think that until I had read that chapter, I didn't really necessarily think of of a form of resistance, or see myself not when I didn't feel happy. Oh, that's a form of resistance to me. I never saw that. never put those two things together, right? But we also know that, anytime that we're listening to the thinking mind, right, we know, you know, um, and if we're thinking and listening, believing what it says, from my experience, oftentimes they're not happy thoughts. They're not something happy. It's judging me, it's judging somebody else. It's saying this, not enough of this, not enough of that. Oh, she should be this, she should be that. I didn't like the way she did this. I didn't like the way they looked at me. But I am aware, and I'm encouraging us all to be aware to know, right? We can turn our attention away from that, and we can choose to be something other than what that is leading us to, and that is to be that joy and to be that happiness. For those of you all who took the Inspired Clarity retreat, a couple of weeks ago, it feels like, in this retreat, we were asked to be truly honest with where we are, on the spiritual path, according to the various stages of consciousness by David Hawkins. Those stages range from fear to full enlightenment, right? There are a lot of stages in between, right? I realize that at this present time, right, that's not to say I'm going to be here next week, or I would be in the same place a week or two from here, a month or two, a year from here. But for right now, even though I acknowledge there's still fear present in my mind. There's still a split there. And I'm okay with acknowledging that, because I think that's the best way to be truthful and see it. There are moments, yes, I get, and then I come back, right? But I also understood in taking that retreat is that, I have the courage, even though there's some fear still there, I have the courage in my heart to transcend that fear. And that's what really matters. I realize that as I continue to evolve on this path, and that fear, when the fear is no longer present at any level, I can still do this in a space of joy and happiness, right? Because I will be honest, during certain times of sharing in the retreat, and I would hear people, oh, I'm over here, I'm in love. I'm like, I ain't there yet. Right? And the thinking mind comes in and goes, oh my God, look at you. You're not where they are, right? But that's okay. And I've decided that I'm going to still be in the joy, being happy with wherever I am, right? Because I know that only that thinking mind or that spiritual ego would look at where I am and say, surely you'll be happier when you get to full enlightenment, right? Or at least self-realization, Jackie. I know that would only come from, that spiritual ego. And I understand also that the ego can never, ever be happy with what is. Can never. I want to go back to the article that I read with Audio Shanti about the joy of being. He points out, as human beings, we get accustomed bending everything, not some things, but everything to our comfort. Think about how much time and energy and money is spent on trying to make ourselves comfortable and fill our leisure time so much so that we never have a moment of quiet, right? I know that's true for me during my daily life of working. There's so much going on that I have to take it. I feel like I have to snatch back my moments to be quiet and be in stillness because there's so much busyness. But, for me, yes, it is uncomfortable to have fear present in my mind, as I shared, and thoughts that constantly try to tell me that what is not true is true. But I resolve to simply let all things be and to do it in joy. I grew up in the Baptist church, and we used to sing this song, This joy I have, the world didn't give it and the world can't take it away. Can I get an amen? Yeah. Some of y'all don't know that song, but it's true, right? Adyashanti also says that, in that article, to take time, real time, to contemplate what makes you happy. It's nice to have comfortable things, he says. It is nice to reach in the refrigerator. We all know this, right? And pull out something yummy any doggone time you want to. But he says that is pleasure, not happiness. And what makes you happy? What actually contributes to your happiness? These are some real good questions to contemplate. And then also, what takes away from your happiness? When we contemplate these questions in a deep way, they can bring us back to our senses, back to our center, back to our heart, and back to our being. We can return to loving the simple things and appreciating them. I went on a walk very briefly this morning. I love nature. And I could see in my front yard, the daffodils, it's starting to spring up, right? And then I went over to this tree and I could see the little bud trying to happen. And right before I went in the house, I stopped because I heard, is that a woodpecker? It was just pecking away. I said, oh, spring's on its way, right? So it's loving simple things and appreciating those simple things that are always around us, always ever present for us to notice. The article goes on to say, making ourselves comfortable or having to have everything that we want the way we want it at every second does not necessarily make you happy. It doesn't. There is happiness that is just an aspect of being. Be is itself happiness. And it goes exactly back to what we read in NTI, right? To just be, to have that willingness to be, and that joy that we're talking about, that it says God's will for us is to be happy at every moment. Not when things are happening, not when we wake up, like this mom would try to tell me, oh, you'll be happy or when you wake up. In the meantime, struggle and strife. No. To be itself, to just be aware itself is happiness. So I encourage you to be joy and happiness and to contemplate, what are the things that truly make me happy? I will tell you, for one, I truly thought getting the house, getting the car, getting the career, getting the husband, getting the dog, which I still haven't gotten yet. Anyway, I digress. I thought all those things would make me happy. I got them, and guess what? No, there was something else. There's such a freedom and a joy in knowing that and in learning who I am in God. There's no price tag for it for me. None of these things can compare. So I encourage you to be the joy and happiness here and now, because it's always present to each and every one of us, right? And we know that your willingness is all that you need. So choose joy, choose happiness, no matter what. And I always say, when joy and happiness is just permeating your being, it cannot help itself but show up on your face. It can't help itself, So, as we used to say, what's the nursery rhyme that was coming to my mind was, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. You know what I mean? People, as adults, we think, oh, that's so silly. That was for kids. No, Somebody wrote that because they knew if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, then your face should surely show it. Who knew? See, I didn't even know I was going to end this with the nursery rhyme. So there. But thank you all so much. I know I have about 2 minutes left, and that's okay. I think what we will do is, this is a beautiful segue. So, Sina, I want you to play Nada's Boeing song, because it's called Remember You're Dreaming. It's all a dream, folks. It's all a dream. So if you could play that song for us now. I love that song, y'all. I love it. Remember, and it's so funny, as that song was playing, I was thinking, another nursery rhyme came into my head, about, what is it? Row, row, row your boat, life is but a dream. I'm like, my mind is filled with nursery rhymes today. I don't know. It's all good, but you get the point, right? I am so grateful and thankful for each one of you, and to share this homily with all of you. So again, Tawonda, thank you for the beautiful reading. Sina, thank you for your support. What would we do without you? We don't even want to think about it. So again, thank you all for the opportunity to share. And at this point, we're going to open up for any sharing that you all would like to do. Anybody who would like to share anything, the floor is yours.
Jacqueline, Jackie.
Yes,
George here. Our fellowship time is going to be abbreviated as far as sharing. So this is your opportunity to share. Awesome message. Do not worry about the world. I mean, that says it all. The Course says your only task is to accept the atonement for yourself. It's not to fix the world. It's not to get involved in all of these good causes. Your task is to awaken first. You can't help anybody unless you awaken first and allow spirit to flow through you. And joy and happiness is really what we're all looking for. Absolutely. I had a wonderful day down here in Florida. And, at the end of the day, I said, man, what a magnificent day. Went to the beach, enjoyed the water, and it was just a wonderful day. And I thought at the end of the day, life is so good, okay? And we all have those moments where we have little snatches of life where we just feel at one with everything. We're not worrying about anything. And that's just a little slice of joy and happiness. So let all things be just as it is. The truth is so simple. It is so simple. And yet, as human beings, we try to complicate everything. So thank you.
Yeah, it's just lovely homily. That was your first homily, right? No? Second. Okay. Very good. Thank you. It was really nice. I just want to say it's so nice to be reminded about the joy. We get in there and we try and do it right, and and we forget about the joy, and the joy is where it's at. Like you say, if you're happy and you know it, you're in the right place. So thank you so much for your homily. It was very, very inspiring. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Christy, I see your hand up.
I just want to thank you for the progression you brought in your homily today, because, it's so clear that willingness is so important to our being able to experience joy, which, I think of joy as capital J. It's an attribute of the divine. So what I hear you speaking is, opening up to the divine that's flowing through us. And I love how you talked about your experience 30 years ago. And at that time, and this is true for me, I've had these same kinds of experiences. And I think for many of us, where we were at a point in our spiritual evolution where we just repressed the pain and the sorrow that we were experiencing. We didn't know how to process it. And so it comes up 30 years later. And here you are with this beautiful willingness. And again, capital W, I think NTI capitalizes that willingness. It's, it's our consciousness coming forth and telling us, we're ready to release that. And you mentioned the heart, coming from the heart. So opening up, I can release this and I can experience the divine, and it is the joy within me. So it was a beautiful experience just listening to your experience. So thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Laura, I see your hand, and then John.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. That was so, so, so beautiful. And the music, oh my gosh, it's like, this is amazing. And I'm just feeling that such gratitude, and I'm laughing. Shauna's going to laugh at me, but sometimes she comes into my dreams. And last night she came into my dream last night, and what she said, and I'm feeling the same way with, or not necessarily with anyone, but I heard the do. There's a lot going on, and so it was kind of a dream where I was flowing, but busy, just busy. And Shauna just said to me, surrender the surrenderer. That's all. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Laura. That sounds like the title of my next homily. Thanks. John, I saw your hand.
So, Reverend Jack, I just want to thank you for the reminder that the joy that seems to be the ultimate goal isn't a future thing. It's a current thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so easy to get caught up into when I get this done, when I get here, when this happens, that's when I'll be happy. But in the meantime, just gonna have to suck it up. And seeing it and remembering that, I actually do see it. I'm sure we all do. The little things, the woodpecker that you talked about. I thought that was great. I was looking out the window and there's, woodpeckers flitting about. And taking the time to appreciate those little things along the way, that is the joy. It is not a future thing.
Mm-hmm.
And just giving ourselves permission to enjoy that. And it's more than permission. It's like, it's like, this is your path. And this is how you access it, by feeling that joy in that moment. And it's not just a feeling the fire, apparently. It's not just a way of getting there. It is being there. And it's unrolling, unfolding all the time right in front of us. And it's just wonderful to be reminded of that. So thank you.
Thank you, John. I don't see any more hands. So Anne, yes.
Jackie, thank you. What a gift, right down from the beginning of that song, right? Gratitude. We can say gratitude's an attitude, but it's not just how we feel joy and happy, right? It's how we feel free. And I love that song kept pointing back. And I know that this mind will be like, all right, you got the joy now, but how long is this going to last? And you got stuff to do today. I can kind of feel that happening. And I love you pointing us right to to Luke, which says, so don't worry about that. Don't worry about your progress on the path. Don't judge these thoughts, these actions, because worry and judgment, why shouldn't we do it? Because they don't bring joy, like straight up, because they don't bring joy. And so we have a test right there. Is this bringing joy? No. And I love the exercise you did, because if this moment is not bringing joy, there's only one question. What do you want? Like, do you want joy? Have you reminded yourself you want joy? Do you have, and I think I heard the way I heard you pointing to it, do you intend to have joy? Do you intend to know joy? Not as a future endeavor, right now. And then just coming back into that breath, right? There are many people in the world who would give everything right now. Just have this easy flowing in and out breath, right? And it's our opportunity to bring attention to that. So can we bring attention to where intention is, right? Haji always shows us that that's the way home. So we just come on back. Yes, I want to experience joy. And you demonstrate, it was so beautiful, how simple it is to lean back into the heart and the willingness, remember what we want, and then go one place that we can find it, which is back inside, it's an inside job. And so thank you for your demonstration. Thank you for your words. And my friend, thank you for your joy. Love you.
Love you. Thank you. Wow. Ooh, I do see Ruby's hand. Ruby?
Yes, that was a lovely message. And you just gave me permission to be happy now. I'm telling you, I have been happy whenever I get a shift, whenever I get a revelation. And I have honestly ignored everything in NTI that says, joy and happiness is here. I'm still was believing it's happy when I get a shift, or when I get this revelation, or when I get this or that. So I feel right now a shift, a change in perception of me thinking happiness has to do with my progress on the awakening path, or my progress on my healing. So thank you very, very much, because I'm ready. I'm ready to be happy now, right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. Beautiful. Thank you. So, I'm going to conclude. I know that sign up in the chat, a reminder during fellowship that we're going to have that ordination. So please stick around for support. So Sina, could you play our final song, which truly encourages all to live our lives like it's golden? You know why? Because it is.
You've been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.